When I got into Linux, I was an early adopter, all into open source, and it was going to they used to call them the install fests, and they used to do them once a month where we would drag our desktops, because laptops were a thing of only rich people had back then. We drag our desktops over to the meetup and we would help each other install. Well, I was on the helping side in the beginning, and later I became the helper because there's this fun sense of discovery. I got the X window working, because that was, after you load your 5 Red Hat floppies, and then discover that the cursor doesn't work unless you do a bunch of magic to figure out how serial mice work. But there's a sense of discovery you have in newness, and I think there's an equal amount, and especially for me, of wanting to teach someone else, like, look what I found, like show and tell. So that kind of evolved into me doing presentations there, to me doing lots of public speaking over the years. And it also sharpens your skills to try to teach someone something or present on any topic. You end up diving deeper into it and you become better at it, because you don't want to know just what buttons to press and what commands to go forward. You want to know why those commands, because you're afraid someone in the audience might ask. So you end up with this extra deep learning path. And that eventually led to someone saying, can you put this video on you? Can you put this talk on YouTube? And I said, probably. And it was a firewall talk at an open source conference. And turns out a lot more people watched that video than were at the conference. And I was like, there's a thing here. There's a demand for this type of content. So I just started doing more and more firewall videos and expanding out from there to all the different tutorials I have. Any given moment, there's usually around 1,800 published videos. I published a lot more, but as a new one comes out, like one I'm making today is going to replace one. So there will be no change, just be a new version, because the software is new and there's no reason to keep the old one. So I actually remove hundreds of videos as they age out or get replaced. So I've done several thousand videos, but over the last, since 2017, since I built a studio and said, this is what I'm going to do, is publish videos, I've kind of pruned them over time.